Are cats liquids? Common sense tells us that cats are solids, but online photos of felines curled up in sinks, bowls, and vases have scientists wondering if cats are actually fluids. You can't find your cat anywhere. He's not in his bed, on his favorite window perch, or even under the sofa. Finally, you spot him. He's lounging in the strangest place, squished into a glass bowl on the kitchen counter. Cats love tight spaces. The internet is loaded with photos of kitties squeezing into tiny boxes, curling into jars, and wedging themselves into containers that look far too small. Cats seem to be able to ooze through the teeniest openings and contort to fill just about any vessel. This quirky behavior has led people online to jokingly ask, are cats liquids? It might sound like a silly question, but cats actually appear to meet the classic definition of a liquid, a substance that flows freely and takes the shape of the container it's in. A few years ago, Marc-Antoine Fardin came across some of these cat memes. Fardin is a physicist at Lyon University in France who studies how matter flows and changes shape. He decided to apply his knowledge to cats, writing a scientific paper that humorously used physics principles to analyze the animal's movements. According to Fardin, under the right conditions, cats really are liquids. States of matter. On Earth, matter most commonly exists in 3 states: solid, liquid, and gas. Matter can change from one state to another when energy, in the form of heat, is added or removed. Solid. A solid is made of tightly packed atoms, or molecules, held together by strong forces. It has a fixed volume and shape. Liquid. A liquid's atoms, or molecules, are only weakly held together and can easily move around. That allows a liquid to flow, taking the shape of the container with no change in volume. Gas. The atoms, or molecules, that make up a gas can move freely and will spread out to fill a given space. A gas has no set volume. Phase changes. Matter is the stuff that makes up everything in the observable universe, from stars and cars to human beings. It has mass and takes up space. There are 3 common states of matter, or physical forms it can take: solid, liquid, and gas. See states of matter below. But some things don't fit neatly into a single category. Sometimes a substance behaves like a solid, sometimes like a liquid, and sometimes it's more complicated, says Robert Campbell, a physicist at Northeastern University in Massachusetts. Think about ketchup. It changes shape to fit its container, but it doesn't flow unless you give the bottle a good shake. It falls between a liquid and a solid, says Campbell. What about Greek yogurt? It holds its shape on a spoon until you drop it into a bowl. Splat. Or take slime. It can ooze like a thick liquid, stretch like elastic, or bounce like a solid ball. Cats are even more complicated. Because they move on their own, cats can quickly change states, behaving more like a solid in one situation and a liquid in another. That's the cool thing about cats, says Campbell. They fit into different categories at different times. When Fardin decided to investigate whether cats were liquids, he noticed this too. When cats' bodies are in motion, they maintain their shape, a defining property of a solid. But when relaxed, cats' bodies often spread out to take the shape of the container they're in, just like a liquid. Fardin proposed that the more quickly a cat settles into a container, which can vary based on the animal's age and activity level, the more easily it can transform into a liquid. Natural contortionists. So how exactly do cats become liquids? It turns out their unique anatomy gives them an advantage when it comes to fitting into tight spaces. See cat anatomy below. For example, cat spines are designed to curve and twist, says Steve Lampa, a scientist who studies anatomy at Washington State University. Flexible discs between each vertebrae, the bones that make up the spine, provide cushioning. Humans have these discs too, but in cats, they're even stretchier, Lampa says. Cats also have especially flexible shoulders that allow them to squeeze through tiny openings. A human's shoulder bones are attached directly to the rest of their skeleton, limiting their range of motion. In cats, the shoulder bones are attached only to muscle, says Janelle Scott, a veterinarian at Colorado State University Veterinary Teaching Hospital. That adaptation allows cats to pull their shoulders in so they can fit through narrow spaces. Finally, cats lack a tough, inflexible ligament to connect bones between their head and spine. Scott says, in humans, this ligament helps stabilize the neck. Not having it, says Scott, gives cats flexibility so they can contort their head as they squeeze into small boxes. Cat anatomy. A cat's skeletal system has features that give felines extreme flexibility. Number 1, shifting shoulders. A cat's shoulder blades aren't attached to any other bones. They're held in place by just a few muscles, creating added mobility. 2, bendy neck. Cats' necks aren't missing the ligaments found in those of other mammals. Without this fibrous connective tissue, cats can turn their heads more easily. And 3, twisty spine. Cushioned discs between each vertebra allow cats to twist 180 degrees in either direction. Hiding out. A cat's anatomy explains how they can fit into tight spaces. But why do they like squeezing into little containers in the first place? Today, most cats live domesticated lives as people's pets. But they were once wild predators, and sometimes still are, hunting backyard prey like lizards, mice, and birds. Concealing themselves in enclosed spaces helps kitties stay hidden while hunting. At the same time, exposed cats risk becoming prey themselves to larger, more fierce animals. In small spaces, cats are more protected, says Scott. They don't have to worry about something sneaking up behind them. Instead, they only have to monitor the area in front of them for danger. Scott is very familiar with the liquid-like characteristic of cats because she has 2 of her own, Salem and Sabrina. Recently, while unpacking from a trip, Scott left a suitcase out and set some things on top of it. I thought that would keep them from getting in, Scott said, but they managed to paw open a small gap and squeeze inside. If you have a cat, what's the most surprising place you've found your pet hiding?